always say that women are using them. Using them for what? Bradley, you have $50 in your checking account for the next 2 weeks, and the required $25 in your savings account so that they don't close it. Using you for what? Your time, knowledge, and expertise? Like, I just don't, it doesn't fucking track for me.
I saw this on Facebook yesterday, and y'all needed to see this so you could laugh. So this woman says, so this happened to me last year. I actually intended on making a TikTok video about it, but every time I started editing it, I would think that I didn't even want to see it. Why would anyone else want to see it? Clearly, there's an audience to share this craziness to, so here it is. She says a few things for context and clarity. 1, I'm a realtor, so my contact information is out there for the public to reach out to me. I tried Google Voice, but I didn't like that people would have to say their names and then wait for Google to connect me. 2, this was a random text. I did not know this man. I have since saved his number as Nasty MF, so I could find it easily when I would go back to reference it or get pics from the chat. 3, I use software that is offered to realtors to input a phone number or email address to get the details associated with it, primarily criminal history. It also shows home addresses, aliases, and other information, which is how I looked him up to find out who he was. Number 4, what I initially thought was a photo was actually a video. This creep sent me a whole video of him self-pleasuring. Number 5, I think the reason he was so apologetic is solely because he knew I had all of his information. His whole face was in the video. He was afraid that I would post his face and his information, and he would have the wrath of the internet. I don't believe for 1 second that he was actually sorry. He was sorry he got caught. 6, he actually wrote, "Sit on my face, gorgeous," but he couldn't undo the send or delete the message, only edit, which is why you see this dot under the picture. The sad part is this isn't the only time something like this has happened to me. So I'm about to show you what she has shown us. And I really do want us women to get this angry. You should be angry that a person is willing to do this because this is a violation. So like she said, she put Nasty MF here, and right here, this is the dot where she said it originally said, "I want you to sit on my face." And then here he is being a clown. And then here she is throwing up at his phallus of sadness. Because why are you doing that, you nasty MF? So here she is saying, "Who is this?" He says, "My name is Chris. We don't know each other though." Chris thought that this was appropriate to send. And then she responds to him, 28 years old, lives at blank in Georgia, since August 1st, 2014, present, owns a black BMW 2011 and a black Audi 2013. She says, "Why the F would you send me this? I'm about to put you on blast, sir. My man, my son, niece, nephews could have had my phone, you effing creep." He says, "Wait, no, I'm so sorry about sending you that." She says, "Too late. LOL. I already have screenshots of everything, so no use trying to backtrack now." And then he does the facepalm emoji. "I tried unsending it. Please know I deeply apologize. I'm tripping. Had I known, I wouldn't have sent it." Had you known what? Had you known what? What in what world? Okay. She says, "F your apology. I do not accept it. What didn't you know? Not to send a random video of you stroking yourself to someone you've never even met, never said 2 words to, and didn't ask for it? No. And trust, I will be looking into seeing if I can report you. F that. I'm sick of you sick, demented MF creep clowns. Man, I hope I can find your mama. I can't wait to show her what trash she raised." He says, "I will never send that again, and I won't bother you again. I was being wild, and I never intended any disrespect towards you." He didn't? What? Okay. "That's never the right way to approach or introduce myself. Again, I just wanted to apologize for what I did and disrupting your night." She says, F you and your apology on behalf of every other woman you assaulted with unsolicited pics and videos of your diseased peen. Seriously, F you. He says, I deserve that. He says, I already feel bad for myself. I wrecked my car today, lost hella money today. My life is falling apart, shaking my head. I should have never sent it, just doing more dumb stuff. And she says, everyone has stuff going on. That doesn't give them the right to be effing creeps and assault people. I don't even care, because if my son, niece, or nephews had my phone, you could have traumatized them. So again, F you and F your apology. You deserve your butt beat, and you're lucky you live where you do, because my brother would have made light work of your nasty butt. Spread the word to all your nasty butt friends. And then he says, I would never have wanted them to see that. You're right. It's disgusting. I'm going to pray about it. And I never meant any disrespect. I'm kind of living on edge. I make bad choices. You have every right to feel the way you do. I will never bother you again. I think she's talking too much to this creep, but we're still going to read what she says. She says, definitely talk to God. Please don't say you never meant any disrespect when your actions were disrespectful. That's just asking me to believe a lie. You are young. 28 is not young, but she says you are young, so you're definitely leaning hard into the young and dumb trope. If you really feel bad about it, then don't ever again in life send any woman anything like this again, unsolicited, ever. Everything about that was just grotesque. And then he says, it makes me feel low and sad when I reflect on it. You have my word. I won't send it anymore. Pray for me, please. She says, I definitely will pray for you. I invite you to use the brain God gave you and not act on impulse. I'm not going to tell you not to feel bad, because you should, but use that feeling to force yourself to do better. How would you feel if a man did this to your daughter, your mother, your sister? Well, I'm someone's daughter, mother, and sister. And he says it would make me angry. And looking at it from those perspectives is just not right at all. And then he says, amen. I need to stop impulsively acting. It's gotten me in some bad spots. And then he says, I pray I'm not too far gone. I'm a wreck right now. I want to give up, but I can't. Sometimes I just feel like things won't turn around, and I can't bounce back. I don't know. It's just me, but I felt like she was giving him too much right here. That's just what I was feeling about it. He had the opportunity to really, it felt like he had kind of a therapist, a hard-nosed therapist right here. And I don't think that he deserved it, but that's just me. I wanted y'all to see, though, that he was scared. She scared the hell out of him, because immediately she knew everything about him and could blow up his life even more. I think that we need to make sure that these men get read for filth for doing these types of things. They need to be read for filth so that they don't repeat these types of dumb behaviors, these creepy behaviors. I did this post from a few months ago, but I want to do it again because it definitely made us laugh. So this is Brooke from Let's Not Date. She says, why must this man doom the world eternally with his ruinous appendage? Let's look at what she's talking about. So this woman posts a story. He sends a heart emoji, or this love face emoji, and then he sends her a D pic, and he says, do you like it? And she says, not at all. Your penis is a mirror of sorrow, and in its reflection I feel not only my own despair, but the despair of countless women before me. And he's like, why? She says, I don't know. It's like your penis holds the echo of every grief that has ever darkened the world. And he's like, geez, LOL. Usually girls do. And she says, actually, in your penis, I see the scars of generations of women. When we close our eyes, we beg the darkness to keep us so that we will not have to open them again to see its withered form. He says, maybe if you saw it in person. She says, doubtful. The longer I look, the more the despair grows. Because of your penis, I am no longer myself, but a vessel of mourning. He says, really? She says, yeah. I was hoping you would say something more hot. She says, I could not possibly. Once the thought of grief takes hold, it will not release me. To look at your penis is to become undone, to watch the scaffolding of self collapse until I am nothing but sorrow, shaped briefly as a body. He says, never actually had someone say that to me before about my D. And she says, the view of your peen steals the color from the hours. Surely many women have said that to you before. And he says, none. And then he says, hey, this is the next day. She says, oh, hey there, keeper of the morning appendage. Do you like the nickname I came up with for you? He says, nope. She says, geez, usually men like my nicknames. And she says, what about the man of 1,000 sorrows in one organ? And then he says, why did my deed make you so sad? You said looking at it did. Well, you see, bearer of the desolate organ, to look at your penis is to feel the unbearable accumulation of endings. Yeah, and why? Great question. Count genital grief? I guess it's just that the shape of your penis leaves behind only a hollow vacancy that weighs on the soul. He says, is it too small? She says, it's not so much the size, Sir Weeping Phallus. It is only that your penis hums with melancholy. Its aura steeped in desolation. He says, I don't get it. Why? She says, why can't we see our own flaws? Have other women truly not confessed to you that your penis suspends them in darkness without end? He responds with, not really. My girlfriend says she liked it when I asked her and she would come, but she did leave. And then she says, I wonder if she left because she could no longer live in the view of your penis for fear that the grief of it would drive her to eternal suffering. He says, geez, I don't know. Guess nobody ever told me. That would suck. Then she says, I'm sorry, and does this sad face emoji. I wish I didn't have to tell you this. It is never easy to be the bearer of bad news, though I imagine it is far worse for you to be the bearer of such a penis. He says, yeah, okay. All right, well, good night. He says, yeah, bye. Please make them feel bad about sending these things because they really should stop. They don't listen. They think that they should keep assaulting women's eyes with this stuff. So you need to make them feel terrible about it. Send them pictures back. Send them a bunch of pictures. Spam them. If you can look up their name based on their phone number, look up their name and call them by their name or something like that. Make them scared to do this to other women. Join the conversation, y'all. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, and share. If you're an adult woman, I would imagine that being married to a man-child who throws tantrums like a toddler, I would think that that would not be particularly attractive. Like he doesn't get his way or something goes wrong. But she's like, I would think that that would just not be particularly sexy. I mean, that's just me as an adult woman. So this woman posted in the What Should I Do subreddit saying, my husband embarrassed me with his behavior in front of relatives. And since she's asking, what should I do? You shouldn't be married to a man-child. I'm just saying. All right, so let's look at the post though. And I think already off bat, if he's sitting up here having mantrums, I think that you should divorce people who cannot have a normal conversation, who can't regulate their emotions, because you should not be in a relationship with a toddler. That's just me. But let's look at this. So her TLDR. Husband threw a mantrum and wanted to punch holes in my parents' walls after becoming frustrated that a concert ticket I bought him was having trouble transferring to his name. So she's 38, he's 45. She says, my husband and I have been married 14 years. Things have been generally good until a couple of years ago. Last year we decided to separate, but have since reconciled. We've been back together for around 7 months. We still live separately at the moment while working on our issues, but frequently, 2 to 5 nights a week, spend the whole day and night together. A few months after we reconciled, I bought him a ticket to see a concert in anticipation of his upcoming birthday. It's a band he really likes and has seen before years ago. It was a huge financial sacrifice for me at the time, and I was super excited to be able to give him the ticket. The ticket itself wasn't that expensive, but it was relatively expensive compared to my budget at that time. Unfortunately, I couldn't afford for both of us to go, but I just wanted to buy him something nice. I also arranged for him to get a ride out to the venue and back, about 1.5 hours away, so he wouldn't have to stress about driving. Fast forward to yesterday when I realized I still needed to transfer the ticket to his name, which I did. I told him about it and reminded him that he needs to make an account and accept the ticket on his end. He said he would do it the next day, today. Sure enough, about an hour ago, middle of the day, he decided to do what he had to do to finish the transfer. Unfortunately, the process was more complicated and took longer than he thought it would. Had to make the account, had to free up storage, had to download the app multiple times, etc. And he got frustrated. Fine, whatever, nothing new. He gets frustrated easily. It just so happens we're at my parents' house right now for the holidays. How he acted was embarrassing. He starts stomping his feet loudly. Our child could hear it from the next room on the floor. He looked like he was having a toddler tantrum. His face was red, grunting noises, fists balled up, etc. I tried giving him space, but he didn't want that. I tried offering to help, but that only frustrated him more. He seemed annoyed at my presence. At some point, I lost my patience and told him to stop acting childish. That wasn't my proudest moment. I immediately regretted using that choice of words. She called him childish when he was being childish. She didn't use any kind of vulgarity. She didn't cuss at him. Why is she apologizing for that? Because that is just a description of what he was doing. Sure enough, it set him off. He went outside to cool down. I could hear him banging around outside. While he was cooling down, I finalized the ticket transfer. After he came back inside, we had a talk about it. I apologized immediately. That's when he said that if he hadn't walked outside, he would have started punching holes in my parents' walls. I believe him. He has punched the wall when we were living together during past arguments. Sometimes it did damage, sometimes not. It never really scared me before, but it does now. The thought of him doing it at my parents' house just makes it more concerning. I asked him if he sees it as a problem that he wants to punch holes in the wall because of something that, in my eyes, seems minor. He acted like he had never considered that before, which in itself seems like a problem. He also tends to self-harm when he's frustrated, which is another issue I worry about. ETA, edited to add. 1. He has been to therapy in the past, unrelated issues, and has agreed to go back to therapy, but has not found a therapist yet. I told him that it's very important to me that he goes back to therapy, so he absolutely knows that's the expectation. 2, supposedly he's been working on himself while we were separated and admitted that he has a lot of growing up to do, so that's progress. I have my own stuff I need to work on too. 3, I apologize for my choice of words, not for how I felt for calling him out. He also apologized later. So he has work to do. He knows he needs to be in therapy. This dude is 45 years old. At what point is he going to get it together? And they have been married for 14 years. How long is she supposed to stick and stay? And why would you want to stick and stay with a person who can't emotionally regulate? She has a child. The child saw him acting like a man-child, like a toddler, throwing a mantrum. This is not normal. And honestly, though, it could be normal, but this is not a healthy relationship. This is not a normal that we should accept. It might be normal for him, but this is not a relationship that she needs to accept, because you do not want to have that child thinking that this is behavior that is acceptable. Break up, stay separated because he is not an adult. You do not stay in relationships with people who act like this. Scorpio Moon says, divorce this man if you can, as this behavior gets worse in time. It's the walls today, then you tomorrow. Is this what you want your children to think is acceptable behavior? Watch some BurbNBougie videos on YouTube. These types of men are dangerous. I responded to her because she tagged my name. It can't be sexy to be married to a man-child. So just so you know, if you do tag me over on Reddit, just do the U / in my name and I will see the tag. So just letting you know. Always Tired says, he has the emotional regulation of a toddler. I can understand why you separated. Man needs therapy. Also, that sort of behavior is just wildly unattractive. The OP says he has agreed to start therapy for unrelated reasons, but has not found a therapist yet. I told him it's important to me, and yes, I agree that it's unattractive behavior. So she is not attracted to a man child, which is good because you adults should be with adults. Here we have a man speaking to her. This is alternative ad saying, okay, I'm a man of similar age to your husband, so have a little perspective on how most men our age are. He's an emotionally immature waste of space. Okay. I like his start. He says, there, I said it. If me or any of my friends acted like this, I'd expect being called childish to be the absolute least of the things I'd get pulled up on. In fact, if I threatened to actually cause damage to someone's property because I was a useless clown who didn't know how to do a simple task, I'd expect to be thoroughly taken to task. The fact you felt the need to apologize tells me everything about this guy. I'd be fairly happy for you to show him this as one man to another. He needs to grow the hell up and act like a man, not a 6-year-old child. I won't say break up with him. That's your call to make. But by God, you got yourself one of the bad ones here. I love it. He said absolutely everything that needs to be said. He said, show him this. Tell him that I'm calling him an emotionally immature waste of space. He called him childish. He called him a clown. Yeah, a useless clown. Original King at the bottom says, this needed to be said. This guy will be perpetually emotionally stunted. And there you have it. That's enough. She knows who she's married to. Will she stick and stay with this person? She needs to make this decision. But as we have these discussions, I want to let us know that you do not have to stick and stay with a toddler, someone who is trying to damage the homes that you live in or of other people. That costs money. So you're having a toddler tantrum and you're strong enough to actually do damage. You're a financial liability. Not only could you harm me physically, but you're going to cost me money. Absolutely not. Leave these people alone. I didn't see a lot of Thanksgiving posts this year, not a whole lot of FAFO at all. And I am wondering what's going on. I wonder if women are just really opting out and not making a big fuss about it, because I surely checked with the lead up to Thanksgiving, on Thanksgiving, the day after Thanksgiving, and I didn't see a lot. So maybe people are learning the lesson and not stressing themselves out about this holiday that's built on suffering of indigenous people anyway. Anyway, I came across this post on Threads yesterday. So the smiling Sagittarius says, I don't cook or host on Thanksgiving. I don't want to put more work on my already full work, life, kids, etc. plate. So my dad and stepmom and the kids and hubs and I go out. I see them very rarely as my stepmom's health is declining and my dad is taking care of her full time. Thanksgiving Day. Me. Don't forget our reservations are for noon today, so I want to leave at 11:30 to get there a bit early. Him. So right here she's talking to her husband. Him. That F's me up. She says, me, slightly annoyed. She says, it's been on our shared calendar for months and I've told him about it 6 times. Him. It takes 15 minutes to get there. Me. It takes 25 minutes to get there and then we have to park and I don't want to be late for our reservation. Him. So we actually don't need to leave until 11:40. Me. I'm leaving at 11:30. 11:30. Kids and I are in the car. Husband is still getting ready. 11:39. I pull the car out of the driveway and close the garage door and drive around the street, circular street. Him, 11:40. He calls. I can't believe you left me. That's so childish. Me. I said I was leaving at 11:30. Next time you could prioritize this family instead of being on your phone. Him. That's not what happened. I was working. She says, of course we leave on his schedule and we were late. Luckily, my dad was there early. They almost gave away our reservations, even though he was early because they were so busy. It doesn't sound that bad in my head. I sound like the childish one in my head. Does it sound that bad, or am I the a-hole? You're absolutely not the a-hole. He was being the a-hole. He was acting like a petulant child in this moment. You had something that you wanted to do. You expressed that need. You reminded him a few times, but for whatever reason, some of these people just have to be in control, even when they inconvenience others, even when there is a time deadline. They know better, and so they're going to act out, even to the detriment of everybody else. So people like this is how you build up resentment, because there is absolutely no reason to just be scrolling your phone when you are reminded of things. Like, why are you working, or why are you on your phone when you could just be on your phone in the car? He just wanted to do this to annoy this woman. Tuesday's Witch says, weaponized incompetence. You're not the childish one, but you're treating him like a child. I'm not criticizing. He's acting like one. You're starting to hold him accountable, but it needs to be consistent and less reminders. I bet he doesn't need reminders at work. If he was late for a meeting or whatever, what would happen? He needs to grow up and stop being a self-absorbed man-child. Give him the room to fall on his face. Then he will have no choice but to start stepping up. Curly Mermaid says, I would say wheels up at 11:30 and then pull out of the garage at 11:30. If he can't get his stuff together, he can stay home. I have no time for that kind of BS. You are not the a-hole. I wouldn't yell. I'd just go. I would not apologize, but I would accept his apology and his changed behavior, or he missed the next reservation too. Miss T-Max says, he doesn't like you. I'm sorry. Antifa ND says, ask him if he would make these excuses to his boss if he was late to work, or if he'd forget when a meeting is. I bet the answer is no. If you can't even give me the same effing professional courtesy you give coworkers, I don't want it. And then Nebulous Wonder says, also, what work is so important that it had to be done at that specific time on Thanksgiving with no notice to you that he had work to complete? His behavior is selfish on multiple levels. Swiss Hawk says, and work that was miraculously finished right at 11:40 when he wanted to leave. He thought he was right. He doesn't respect her decision-making skills. KMT says, you should have gone without him. He could have found his own way to the restaurant. You aren't his mom, and he needs to start accepting responsibility. Yes, he could have Ubered there since he didn't want to be in the car at the time that she specified. Yoka Ku says, I'm stuck on noon reservations, but that's a me problem. And then she says, my dad likes to eat early. He's 80. All right, I'm going to end it there. I just wanted to see, like, these women, she's asserting herself. She's putting a time on it. And you see, he's like just trampling right over her boundaries, because this is what these people feel like they can do. But you got to start pushing back. And like, a lot of people were in her comments saying, next time leave. And maybe that is what they have to do. Next time leave. Make sure that he can find his own way there next time. Y'all let me know what you think of this one. Join the conversation. I made a video about women healing after a breakup, and I didn't get a lot of views there. So I am tacking it on at the end of this video, because I think that that video is worthy of a view and a click. So go ahead and watch it if you didn't see it when I posted it this morning. Can a relationship make you sick? Can a bad marriage impact your health? What if I told you that your health could greatly be improved if you left a sucky marriage, or you left a sucky man in general? So these women, they started talking about their experiences underneath this woman's Threads post. And I'm just going to read through these. This woman, Talia, started the conversation. She says, I ended my marriage and my autoimmune issues and chronic pain improved significantly. So very short post. She didn't expound on it, but it got the ladies talking. So I'm just going to sit here, and for this 10 minutes, I'm just going to read all of these women's comments, or as many as I can in 10 minutes. Botanical Animal says, insomnia evaporated. I sleep like the dead now. According to our daughter, my ex now smells like he's rotting from the inside out. So that's nice. And then she gives this smile emoji. Meet April Joy says, that's awesome. Yeah, that stench be so foul. Toxic demonic men be having. It's like a damp, mildew infested old dirty rag. So either he's not eating well, he's not washing his own clothes well, the hygiene isn't there, or whatever. Tara says, it's insane what our bodies do when we're in unhealthy partnerships. I look at me now versus who I was when I was married, and I can't believe it. Life's Azu says, the amount of women who also have their anxiety and mental health issues disappear as well is interesting. It should be studied. Psychology and astrology says it's because everything is everything. If you know, you know. Now, that was really deep. Everything is everything. If you know, you know. Wow. Mind blown. Sweet Pea Lexi says, I left my ex and lost 40 pounds. My skin cleared up. The tumors in my thyroid shrunk. My hair stopped falling out. And my finances improved. 11 out of 10 would recommend leaving your terrible partner. She did not say terrible partner, though. Time Bomb says, same. I had lost all my eyelashes. I didn't know you could lose eyelashes from a sucky relationship. She says, I had lost all my eyelashes and was losing so much hair. Developed food allergies to nearly everything. It's all back to normal now, and I dropped 20 pounds while eating more than I had before. Just needed a divorce. Then we got Rachie saying, wow, I also developed food allergies to 8 foods. We broke up, then 6 out of the 8 of them are gone within 2 months. Time Bomb says, yes, our bodies were screaming at us and we just had to listen. Kara says, my ex kept asking if I needed my meds increased. After my divorce, I was able to decrease or stop them. We got Holly Westbrook saying, the gaslighting is so hard to work through. Turns out I wasn't an awful person. Tiki Pie says, girl, same. I had to take permanent leave from work, but I didn't realize the solution was to take permanent leave from him. Thinking about going back to work soon. So yay for her. I really hope that that will help improve her finances too. So her health is improving and now her finances can improve as well. Missy Mason Cahill says, same girl, same. Diagnosed with MS. Got divorced and is like non-existent now. Bad relationships will take a woman down. Bailey Waldrum says, my hair started growing back. And then from Shells with Love says, I ended a 7-year relationship and lost 60 pounds, dropped depression, and my gastro and blood pressure issues disappeared. The wrong person will F you up mentally, physically, and emotionally. Straight poison, and it can jack up women financially as well. That's the perfect comment to tell some of y'all, just in case you didn't know. I've actually written a book with my co-author Nzinga. It's called Ashy Men Will Make You Fat, a petty self-help guide. Now, this book is not about just losing weight. It's about getting healthier. And sometimes, just like some of these comments are saying, you can gain weight simply because you're with the wrong person, because it will jack you up mentally, emotionally, physically. It'll jack up your other relationships with other people as well. So you can check me out if you're over on my YouTube page. I will go ahead and drop a link in the description, and over on TikTok, I'll drop a link in the description as well. Links Girl says, I'm in the middle of a divorce from a marriage of 20 years. I'm praying for the internal glow up more than the external. K-Dub and Wubs says, it's funny you say that because since I left my relationship, my periods, and I only had 2, were definitely lighter and less painful. I'm going to keep track of this. The Rose and the Pearl says, can relate so hard to this. In an old toxic relationship, my period was so painful, I began wondering if I had endometriosis. Once we broke up, my periods never hurt like that again. Wow. All right, Queen of Bad Decisions says, I aged in reverse once I divorced. It was wild. This part is very interesting. her talking about aging in reverse, because I talk about how these men attach to you and they suck you dry of your time, energy, and resources. Some women start to look like a shell of themselves because these men are sucking them dry, sucking them down to where they look like a husk of themselves once they leave. And so this is amazing that so many women are speaking to how their health actually improves once they get rid of that parasite. The Rose and the Pearl says, if you were married to a man, I'm not surprised. I once remember reading about this small study a woman did on a group of women that left their husbands in the quality of their lives of most, if not all, I can't quite recall exactly, of those women increased drastically. In fact, most hit big bank once men were out of their lives. Men are the problem. This cat is ridiculous says, I had debilitating migraines several days a week that magically resolved after removing a man from my life. Rose says, I gained 15 kilometers. My depression increased as well as my anxiety and procrastination, all because of wanting to please others. Choose yourself first. If they don't like it, move on. And then Rose says, I lost 5 kilograms, getting back to 55 kilograms soon. I feel more relieved and happier since I left that toxic relationship. And then we got Aurora saying, same. Migraines went away. Chronic pain disappeared. I lost 60 pounds without even trying. Wild what removing stress from your life can do. Told you I'm just going to fill up the whole video with these women and their commentary. So we got Chrysia saying, same. My body was screaming for years. Once I left, the pain started lifting. Peace really does heal the nervous system. I'm going to say that one more time. Peace really does heal the nervous system. Jujujitsu, I like that name, says, about a month after separating, my BPD literally went into remission after multiple psychiatrists told me I'd be on meds for the rest of my life. I was on about 5 different psych meds. I'm now on 0 and stable. Some people's presence will make you sicker. Wishing you continued healing. A. Talir says, I know someone whose monthlies stopped for an entire decade. She started bleeding again the day after her husband left the house. Can't imagine how stressful living with him was. Han speaks to what I was just saying. These men are draining your life force. You feel better when you leave because you're retaining all of that energy and is healing you instead of him. And this is one of the main reasons why I've been saying make them hold their own nuts. And you pour into yourself and other women and girls first. Make them figure it out so that they stop draining women. Caxt says, my relationship ended and gradually all of my inflammation, autoimmune issues, eczema, poof, gone. It's amazing what peace can do for the body. It's Danya says, it's crazy how our body keeps rejecting the partner that's not good for us over and over again. This is a good one. Magenta Orchid says, I finally sleep. My body is at rest. Hugs to all of us ladies who are moving forward. It's Ash says, I was clenching my teeth and jaw so hard at night with him. My insomnia got worse. Now I fall asleep and stay asleep with my man. No more clenching and no more insomnia. And then finally, 420 Amused Witch says, yep, I no longer take meds for chronic pain unless it's incredibly unbearable. And the chronic ain't helping. I celebrate the anniversary of my divorce like it's the 4th of July. If you have any stories, I want you to weigh in. It is so healing to get rid of the toxicity out of your life. Join the conversation, like, comment, and share.